Mastodon? Mastodon? Do we really need another social network? And do we really need to name it Mastodon? Go ahead, spell Mastodon off the top of your head. M-A-S-T-O-D-O-N. Mastodon. Did I get that right? I hope I did. Check me on that. Mastodon. M-A-S-T-O-D-O-N. Yeah, that's kind of hard for a lot of people to spell right off the top of their head. Twitter, that's kind of easy. Facebook, that's kind of easy. We can do those kind of things. Mastodon, it may be a little harder, but it may not be such an impediment, and we'll talk a little bit about why. I'm going to hop behind the computer and show you Mastodon. I joined it just this weekend. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but I do have a lot of experience with TweetDeck and with Twitter. And Mastodon looks an awful lot like TweetDeck, so it's extremely familiar to me. A big difference is Mastodon has 500 characters for a limitation instead of Twitter's 140 characters. We'll talk about some of that when we look at Mastodon in person. I'll hop behind the computer and show you. But before you get started with any kind of Mastodon activity, be warned. If you start a Mastodon account, you cannot end a Mastodon account. You are in there right now and you are in there forever. Yeah, it's an existential problem. It is literally an existential problem. It's like Jean-Paul Sartre's No Exit. I don't know if you've ever read that piece of work, but no exit. You are trapped in a room and you cannot get out. So join Mastodon with that caveat that if you join, you can't leave. Let me go show you.
First of all, why am I even talking about Mastodon? If I go to Google Trends, which is at trends.google.com, we can see that over the past 5 years, Mastodon, it's kind of here. Some of it's a rock and roll band, some of it is people searching for the actual animal. But here we are, and it is now April 2017, and just last month we see that, well, people really started talking about Mastodon, and it's just gone up like crazy over the past, I'd say, month or two. To put this in perspective, let me do a similar search at Google Trends for Pokemon Go. If you recall, last year, Pokemon Go went from 0 in June 2016 to spiking like crazy the very next month, and then, oh, look what happened. So keep that in mind. When things go up really sharply, they tend to go down really sharply as well. Tend to see a lot of fadism going on in the tech world. Is Mastodon in the same boat? Well, let's take a look at what Mastodon is, shall we? If you go to the site, it's called mastodon.social, and this is what you'll see. So it's not even mastodon.com, it's mastodon.social. And you'll be greeted with, my goodness, what a cute little elephant. But you'll also see, due to exceptionally high traffic, registrations on this instance are closed. This is an open source project, so it's been distributed. So let's look at the various other public instances where you can sign up. So if you click on it, you'll be taken to a list, and these are all people who have created public instances of Mastodon. You'll see users, statuses, and basically if you want to join, you have to pick up on one of these. Which one should you pick out of all the hundreds that might be here? I'm scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. It is more or less random. You can look at how many people are in there, how many users are in there. Are they contributing? Are there statuses? Is that important to you? You can glean some kind of information about what kind of group you're joining. Bookwitty, for example, I'm getting the feeling that these people want to talk about books, right? I could be wrong. I won't know, though, until I join. And that, of course, is kind of the problem. I don't know what kind of group I'm getting into until I actually join it. Well, how did I make a decision? Basically, I joined a group called Mastodon.blue. It's got 577 members in it. It has a pretty good uptime. It's got a lot of yeses going on for it, so I kind of randomly selected it because I can remember the term Mastodon Blue. I guess one other thing that we can look at that's kind of interesting at this point, it is April 11th, 2017, and there are currently 477 instances being tracked, and there's a grand whopping total of almost 150,000 users. Not a huge user base yet. So let's go take a look at what my Mastodon account looks like. And I'm at Mastodon Blue, if you recall. And here we are in my Mastodon account, mastodon.blue. And we can see that this looks an awful lot like TweetDeck. If you've ever been in TweetDeck, we see the different columns. I've got 4 here. This is where I might tweet in TweetDeck, but in Mastodon land, it's called a toot. Tweets versus toots. So there you are. It really does look quite a bit like Twitter. And you can type whatever it is that you like here. And as you can see, we've got 486 more characters to go. It gives you a lot more space than Twitter's 140 characters. It gives you a full 500 character. Another thing that it can do when you are doing a toot is you can give it a content warning. This is great if you're telling a joke. You can put your punchline down here and put your joke up here, or you can do like I did earlier. I put the punchline first, and then when somebody views it in their local timeline, they can click on the show more and see what the joke was. If you have sensitive content, you may wish to hide it. Looking at the home screen, we see that some people can post very long posts. We can see short posts. We can see that people can do very much what they can do in Twitter by adding different kind of media, adding emoji. We see the notifications of people talking back with me and starring. Remember starring in Twitter? Starring is back in Mastodon land. We can see people boosting posts as opposed to retweeting them. They are both boosted. We can see follow bots are here as well. We can see favorites, little check marks. Looks like I've been favorited for something or other. And here in this column, we can see a lot of things. The local timeline is everybody who is in my instance of Blue. If I want to see something different, I can look at the federated timeline, which is all of those 400 and something instances. If somebody's got a good reputation or their content has been boosted, it will show up in the federated timeline. This is a really quick overview of Mastodon for people who just want to see what it looks like. Clearly, there is a lot more going on with Mastodon. This has been a glib and broad overview. There are still far more depths to be plumbed. But at this point, how do you feel about Mastodon now that you've seen it? What's your gut telling you? Is it something you're going to try, or is it something you are going to shun and disparage? Let me know your feelings in the comments. Surely you must have an opinion. Everyone does. Whether it's informed by experience and reason is an entirely different matter. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. This is Laura Bergals talking to you from my home office in Grand Rapids at the Maniactive channel. Hit subscribe and I'll catch up with you later.